What's going on YouTube? So right now I'm finna be reviewing The Temptations. This movie came out in 1998. I was a little boy. No, I probably was a baby then, but I don't watch this movie a million times. This is one of the best musicals outside of the Five Heartbeats to me. But it stars Leon and Charles Whitfield, I think his name is, that play Otis. But this is one of the best biopics of all time, in my opinion. I know it took a lot of hard work to pull this off because there's so many different stories, but it's basically about the group, The Temptations. They rise to fame, how they had to form the group in like the early 60s. All the things they had to go through in Motown and basically trying to find their way in the industry. All of them had their own battles, like Paul. Well, I'm gonna just give you the main 5 people in the group, which is David Ruffin, Otis Williams, Melvin Franklin, Paul Williams, and Eddie Kendrick. They had so many different people in The Temptations, but they are like the starting 5, like the main 5 people. And when you pull up The Temptations, it's gonna be those 5. They had different lead singers and side singers, but when I think of The Temptations, I think about those 5 people I just named. But yeah, Otis, he really was like the glue of The Temptations. Like, he the one that kept everything together. Melvin, which is Blue, he was like the bass singer. He had the deep voice. Eddie, he was falsetto. He had the high voice. Paul, he was another lead singer. And then everybody know David Ruffin was the lead singer of The Temptations. But I just love how they came together, because first it was just Otis and Blue, and then they was just trying to find different pieces to go. It was like a puzzle how the movie came together. It was like a puzzle how they figured it out. But one dude, it was the first 5 of them. What's his name? Al. He had a drinking problem, and he kept coming back and forth and outside the group, so they got tired of him. And the other 2 members, they wasn't getting no money, so they got frustrated and left. So that just left Otis and Melvin. Then they met Paul and Eddie, and they joined the group. So now it's 4 of them. But like I said, Al kept coming back and forth. And then eventually they just got tired of him and kicked him out. So the same night that they kicked him out, that's when David Ruffin performed for them, and they put him in the group. So now, like, the 5 people that they needed to blow up, it just all came together so well. And like any other groups, they all had their problems. Like, Paul had a drinking problem. David, he dealt with his drug habits. All of them had their issues, but it's just like this not fictional. This was their real story. So how all of them ended, it ended bad. But overall, aside from the drug part, overall, all of them was unique in their own way. That's why I feel like The Temptations will ever be one of the greatest groups of all time. But Leon played this part so good. Like, everybody know the part where he's like, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. Like, we still say that to this day. But Leon, he played Little Richard, and he played in the Five Heartbeats. So, you know, the musical movies is his niche, basically. But he killed it with the David Ruffin part. I don't think you could have found nobody else that had played David Ruffin better than Leon did. And the dude that played Paul in this movie, Paul was always my favorite out of the Temptations, because he could sing backup, and he could sing, like, he could be the main singer. So whatever position you need him to play. Of course, Eddie had the high voice, but all of them played their part. And Blue, he the one that got, like, he talking over the songs with deep voice, and Otis just kept everybody in line. So all of them played their part to the T. That's why this group was so legendary. But Smokey Robinson was the one, like, I think he wrote My Girl for them. If you watch the movie, it shows like where Eddie was finna get the lead part to sing that, but he was like, nah, I want David to sing this. So that ended up being their biggest song, obviously. But they go into where, like, they performing for Berry Gordy. And when they killed it now, when they get done, they asked him, like, did you like it? And he was like, no, I loved it. So he knew what the Temptations was gonna be before everybody else did. Cause like Berry Gordy got that ear for music. You know, he found the Jack, like he didn't discover all them old groups back then. Like they had the biggest record label, so he knew talent when he seen it. But of course, when they started going to the top, they started experiencing the fame and the success, and then everybody just started falling off. Like Paul probably was, I would say probably it was the saddest. He dealt with all his addictions and stuff, and then he ended up sadly committing suicide, and he passed away. It doesn't show on the movie where Eddie died, but I think he had like heart failure or something like that. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but he had something dealing with his heart. He passed. David Ruffin, he OD'd on the movie. And Blue Melvin, he ended up passing away in his mama's kitchen. So it's just like Otis was really, he the one that put the group together, and then he ended up being like the last one left out of it to tell the story. You know what they say, like on these movies, whoever is the last one living gonna be the one telling the story. But I feel like, I ain't saying it was meant to go that way, but he the one from the beginning of it, he put it together. So it's just like, it just made sense for it to go that way. But Temptations is one of the best musical biopics ever. We used to watch this, like it came on VH1, BET every Thanksgiving, Christmas. Like this movie stayed in heavy rotation. It's still in heavy rotation to this day. And from the acting to the makeup, the performances, 10 out of 10. I feel like I'm gonna put this under the 5 Heartbeats just because this was their real life and it ended so tragically. The 5 Heartbeats, they had their situations, but it ended on a good note because it was a fictional movie, and I'm gonna cover that next. But the Temptations, and it's very long. They had it like, it's a mini series, so it got like 5 parts to it. I think in all it's probably like 4 or 5 hours long. So if you're gonna watch this movie, you're gonna have to really have some time to watch it from front to back. But I don't watch this movie a million times, and it never gets old. I mean, then every time you watch this movie, you're gonna find something new that you didn't really like pay attention to the first time, because you're not gonna catch everything when you watch this the first time. And another thing I want to add, my favorite part of this movie is when they was performing My Girl, when they blew up, and how like Al, he was sitting like at a bar just looking at them like, dang, I could have been a part of that. And the lady that tried to like finesse them out their money, and then she kicked them out, like she was just trying to come up off of them. She ended up sitting there looking at them like on TV, like, dang, I could have had that group under my label. So parts in the movie like that, you never know what you dealing with until it's gone. So that's probably my favorite, hands down my favorite part of the movie, when they blew up and everybody from their past had to just sit there and watch them like in the spotlight. So yeah, Temptation is one of the greatest biopics ever to me.